Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Happy Thursday. The sun is finally back out here in the Valley of the Sun. Man, I'll tell you what, I've never, I guess lucky, if you will, had a leak or, major damage done to my home. I will tell you now, I have a much greater appreciation for anybody that goes through those hurricanes and real flooding. What I have is nothing. Real flooding. Wow. Yeah. Tough. If you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, you should listen every day. But during the rainstorm, we had a water leak through the roof. Of course, it leaked one spot, my bedroom, of course. But nonetheless, I'll just tell you, yuck. It's not fun. But the sun's back out. Hopefully it'll all dry out, and we'll get it all fixed, and life goes on. 800-951-0592 is our toll-free number. The website at allamericangold.com. I'm going to tell you, if you did not listen yesterday, it's a show you have to listen to. I'm just going to tell you flat out. I'm not going to talk a lot about it today. I've had people calling, asking for recordings and this and listen. Go out to allamericangold.com. Go to the podcast. You can listen to it right on your computer. If you want to record it off of that, you can. It'll be out there. Of all the shows that I've done this year, this is the one, yesterday's show, you got to listen. I'm in the process of scheduling a meeting, hopefully Monday or Tuesday of next week with the Bullion Bank. So sometime next week, I will hopefully do a follow-up on what we were talking about. Listen, the news, and I talk about it all the time, how they've got your wealth surrounded. And they're getting ready to surround your wealth protection. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't say this very often, and it's one of these things, it is time to start accumulating again. It's already passed. And I know because it's hard to see, right? You hear we can't see it. Then it's already passed. Huge, borderline historic moves in the bond market. And remember, they've been mispricing debt for over a decade. I'll tell you why. And it's not because of great economic data. Okay, I know that if you're one of those headline readers, that's what you need to believe. That's not why. I'll tell you why. The Dow's down 250 to 300 points this morning. The only thing up that I can see is gold. Gold is the only thing up right now, and even that is, it's only up $3. I mean, it's not like it's up, $300. But the Wall Street having trouble, huge breaking stories, and we'll try to get to them all. Did the Chinese, and maybe did is the wrong word, according to Bloomberg, the Chinese have infiltrated the United States through servers provided to Apple and Amazon with a microchip that was allowed them to spy. And I don't know all the details. I'll share you what I do know. It ranges from servers that were placed into the Department of Defense all the way into potentially cell phones and everything else. And how long this is not something the government just found out about. We'll talk about that. Huge news. Remember last week, I asked you if you heard it. I asked you if you heard at night. Did it wake you up? The sound of your price of your home collapsing. Big news out of New York, Dallas, Fort Worth, Denver. I'll share because obviously we're on in Denver as well. home prices cascading downward, all of a sudden inventory popping up seemingly everywhere will bring you up to speed on it as well. So we got a lot of ground to cover. But just remember, so if you're listening, if you didn't listen to yesterday's show, do it. We're going to have a follow-up show next week. We're going to talk about what potentially the Chinese may have done. Why are we just hearing about it now? How long did the government know about it? We're also going to be talking about home prices and what is coming next. And the average cost of raising a child, if we have time. I don't know if we will. We might have to save that one for another day. Right now, Silver Eagles, I've got a handful of backdate Silver Eagle rolls. I don't even have a case, so it's less than 20 rolls of backdate Silver Eagles at $360. If you want more than that, we've got 2018s. We can get those, plenty of those. They're at $370 a roll. On the gold side, U.S. $20 gold pieces, they're going to be $1,300. And again, I don't have. It's not like I've got 50 or 60 or 70. I probably got 30, 35, $20 gold pieces. I'm going to put them on at $1,300 right now. Gold's $1,201, $1,202. So less than $100 over spot at 800-951-0592. And again, it is time to start accumulating again. I'm going to tell you why when we get back. 800-951-0592. That is the toll-free number right now. The Dow's down 283 points. The Nasdaq's down 150 points. Gold's up $2.50. You know, the big headline: government bond yields surge, right? And they try to spend it. It's because of this great economic data. Of course, what great economic data are they referring to? Survey data, soft data, data that I'm telling you means, hey, we're at the top, right? This is the popping of the bubble, right? Because the last one to know is us, right? It always works that way. But let me give you an example. Yesterday, they had some ISM survey data, and they had factory data, and then they had what they call service. So non-service and service. Non-service, manufacturing. Service would be, you know, your carpet cleaners and your gold dealers and your plumbers and your electricians and the service economy. The manufacturing economy in the survey actually kind of was okay, because it said, hey, we're slowing. Wall Street ignored it. We don't like that. Let's not talk about that one. The service sector survey, I think, set a record. I think it was an all-time record high. Again, another one. Hey, you were in bubble. This is what happens. How do you call tops of markets? That's how. Right? Let me give you, tomorrow we are going to get the government job number. Okay? We had the non-government survey number, and I think it was 230,000 jobs created. And they did throw out a caveat of, hey, by the way, we think this number is going to be revised lower because of our methodology. We don't account for that hurricane in the Carolinas, so who knows? But I'm just telling you, it was a good number, 230. We expect tomorrow we're going to get a number somewhere around 200, somewhere give or take. And really all year we've been between what would say about 125 and 225,000 jobs. And it's always somewhere in there. Based on the survey data that was released yesterday, do you know how many jobs would have to be created by the, tomorrow into tomorrow's job number for the survey data to actually be accurate? Because one of the, you're hiring people, business is great, and this and that, right? And you say how great it is. The number would have to be 500,000 jobs. And I've been doing this, like I said, this is year 15. Never, ever, 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 ever have we had a number that high ever. In any month, at any time. We haven't had a number anywhere close to that. Matter of fact, maybe a couple of times have we had a number near 300,000, a couple times. Never 4, definitely not 5, and I just point that out again of why the bubble is getting ready to go. Then they talk about this was the reason for the spike in the yields. By the way, the 10-year note today, 3.20. Your mortgage, if you were to if you're in the home buying arena right now, the move this week has cost you anywhere from $50 to $250 or more a month, depending on how expensive of a home you're buying. 50, you probably can't find a home in that price range. So it really costs you at least an extra probably $100 to $150 a month in a mortgage payment. Now remember, the 10-year note was barely over 3. I think it started the week at 304. Now gotten to 323 on the 10-year note. But here's what they didn't tell you. Do you know why the 10-year note just all of a sudden miraculously started surging this week? The answer has nothing to do with economic data. It has nothing to do with the Federal Reserve. It all had to do with a tax break that had been given to insurance companies and pension funds that expired at the end of fiscal year 2018. Because in October this week, go figure, this week started fiscal year 2019. See, they were given a tax break to buy treasuries for all of the annuities and the pensions, and this is why I said, right, if you're an annuity, you're not safe. They no longer have that incentive. Now, one of the things that we've talked about is who's buying the debt. We know the Chinese aren't, and we're not sure yet. Here's what I'll say about them. They're not buying any more. Are they buying less? Yes, the number's down, but it's still over $1 trillion that they hold. Japan, same thing. Then they're a little more they're selling. They're consistently selling a little bit. Japan. So China and Japan, they're not. The best case scenario is they're not adding. Worst case scenario, they're both selling. Russia, sellers, right? Turkey, sellers, right? The foreign governments are actually net sellers now. So if they're net sellers, it's not a huge number, okay? It's not. Maybe they've sold a couple $100 billion this year. Maybe, okay? And most of that being the Russians. Problem is, as we've been learning, right, we not only do we need them all to keep buying, we've got somewhere around this year is almost $1.3 trillion more that needed to be sold. So who was buying? Now we know. We know who was buying. The pension funds and your annuities, your insurance companies were buying, not because they loved the price, because they were given a tax break to do so. That tax break is expired. Yields have shot up. Jay Powell yesterday, by the way, he didn't help. He did say that the Federal Reserve is nowhere near normal, and that's probably the most honest thing that he said yet. But when you talk about why did they spike, the answer really was simple. The biggest buyer of the debt started buying a lot less. What does that mean for the economy? Well, it's not good, right? Obviously, rising rates is a negative. Just like, why did they bring rates to zero and leave them there for 10 years? Because they thought it would be a positive. This is why I said, start accumulating. I know, and I know today Dow's down 300, but so what? The Dow was up 400 or 500 points going into today for the week. But when you look at the hard data, you see all this soft data, and it's all, all these records and all these things. That's the top. Last week, I told you housing's getting ready to do something really, really bad. This was out of I believe, the paper in Denver, the Denver Post. Home sales in the metro Denver area. And again, Denver's one of the big players in the bubble this time around. Fell precipitously in September, forcing sellers to cut their prices and pushing the inventory of properties available for sales at an unprecedented rate. This was according to the monthly data from the Denver Metro Association of Realtors. The housing inventory and home price adjustments are normal and expected, they said. Nothing normal about it. What's not normal? Well, they did say what's not normal. Sales of single-family homes priced over $500,000, which is now pretty much a entry-level type home, fell 33% from August to September. And August was a bad number. Well, I shouldn't say bad. August was down. September down even more. Homes priced over $500,000 down 33%. For those sellers, there's real turbulence. The Denver housing market is showing signs of cooling since early summer. The number of single-family homes sold in December across all price ranges, this was the best part, fell 30.5%. So it wasn't like it was dramatically better in other areas. That was down 30% from August, down 22% from September of last year. Condo sales fell 43%. Sales down 17% from last year. The inventory of homes for sale, well, not really helping now. They said inventory shot up by 8,807 homes. That was up 7% from August. And now number of homes on the market are up 16% in the Denver area from a year ago. Listen, start scratching out Denver, write your city in there. New York, Manhattan, and spreading. Dallas, Fort Worth, and spreading. Denver and metro areas and spreading. They said that the median price of single-family homes in September fell 4% to $428,000. Wow, think about that. That's the median price, $428,000. Who can afford that? By the way, that's still 6% higher than the same month a year ago. So they got a long way to go. You're looking for a house in Denver, I'd wait a little bit because I got a feeling they're going to get cheaper. But here's the problem. The home fell. Interest rates are skyrocketing. You probably didn't save a thing. In order for it to actually be cheaper, home sales are going to have to fall a lot if the 10-year note's going to keep doing what it's doing. I mean, think about this right now. At 3.2323, I think was the high today. The Fed's funds rate of 2.25. A normal market. Normally, the 10-year note would be at least 2 full points higher than the Fed funds rate. Which means, could we see the 10-year note go back to 4.25 without a rate hike? Problem is, we're going to get more rate hikes. Patriot Radio News Hour, halftime on a Thursday. Come back if you can take it.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, the conservative pro-family broadcast of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, a leading voice for the sanctity of life, traditional education, the Constitution, and American sovereignty. And now, from the archives of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, here is Phyllis Schlafly.
Powerful groups in the United States are trying to turn us into a completely secular nation and banish all reference to God and prayer from any public place or event. Those are the people who file lawsuits against the words "under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, against Ten Commandments monuments, and against students who want to reference their faith at graduation ceremonies. Those secularists are trying to make us believe we must get rid of those old-fashioned notions. I would like to remind you that on this date of October 4th in 1982, President Ronald Reagan proclaimed the Year of the Bible. Reagan's proclamation stated, "Now therefore, I, Ronald Reagan, President of the United States of America, in recognition of the contributions and influence of the Bible on our republic and our people, do hereby proclaim 1983 as the Year of the Bible in the United States. I encourage all citizens, each in his own way, to re-examine and rediscover its priceless and timeless message." Now, I don't want you to think that this public respect for the Bible was expressed only by Republican presidents. In 1941, a Democratic Party president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, wrote the prologue of a special Gideon's edition of the New Testament and Book of Psalms that was distributed to millions of World War II soldiers. Here are President Roosevelt's words. As Commander-in-Chief, I take pleasure in commending the reading of the Bible to all who serve in the armed forces of the United States. Throughout the centuries, men of many faiths have found in the sacred book words of wisdom, counsel, and inspiration. It is a fountain of strength and an aid in attaining the highest aspirations of the human soul. Presidents and patriots throughout history have celebrated and honored God's Word.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. When America turns our back on our Christian heritage, we shouldn't be surprised when biblical precepts like honesty, kindness, respect, justice, and freedom are abandoned. At phyllisschlafly.com, we still believe in rights endowed by our Creator. If you agree, find out more at phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening to the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
Backward. 800-951-0592 is our toll-free number. Wealth insurance, protecting your assets. It is what we do. the physical delivery of gold and silver. You hold it. Think about what happened and what is happening in the bond market this week. Understand what we just talked about in Denver, and I told you Fort Worth's the same thing, Dallas, same thing, New York, same thing. It's spreading. And the move in rates is not going to help anywhere, right? It just makes things more expensive. And now they're talking about we're going to have this great economic growth and housing sales down 30%. In one of the, let's face it, I mean, if you're talking about, hey, give me the cities that have kicked butt. Denver's at the top of the list. Dallas, Fort Worth, top of the list. But again, when it's not real, when it's created by the mispricing and the illusion of debt, right, and the mispricing of it, this is what happens. But we got to get to this story. Bloomberg is reporting through Bloomberg Business Week. In 2015, Amazon began evaluating a startup called Elemental Technologies. Doesn't sound very Chinese, does it? A potential acquisition to help with the major expansion of streaming video service, what today we would call Amazon Prime Video, okay? Element made software for compressing massive video files. So, in order to get all of this streaming stuff, they got to take the files and they compress them. They zip them up and make them smaller. It helps stream the Olympic Games and so on and so forth. But what Amazon found was that Element's national security, they also, by the way, this company had national security contracts. International Space Station, drones, right? The drone footage that you see from these drones, apparently they were part of that, all the way down to the CIA. But that, Amazon says, wasn't the reason that they were looking to buy them, but did fit nicely with Amazon's government business. To help with due diligence, Amazon hired AWS, a third-party company, to scrutinize Element's security. The first pass uncovered troubling issues, prompting AWS to take a closer look at Elemental's main product. The expensive servers that customers installed into their networks to handle the video compression. These servers were assembled for Elemental by Super Microcomputers, Inc., right? A San Jose-based company that's also one of the world's biggest suppliers of server motherboards, the fiberglass-mounted cluster of chips and capacitors that acts as the data center for companies large and small. In the spring of 2015, Elemental staff boxed up several servers and sent them to Canada, right, for a third-party security company to test. What they found was nested in the servers a tiny microchip not bigger than a grain of rice. The microchips are small. That was not part of the board's original design. Amazon reported the discovery to U.S. authorities. What they ended up finding out was that the Chinese had put in a doorway into any network that included the altered machine. In other words, everywhere these machines were, they were able to gain access to the entire network. They said that Amazon, which had reported the discovery, this was 3 years ago. They said that Elemental started working with American spy agencies in 2009. So I don't know. So it could be as long as 2009. We know that Amazon reported it to the government in 2015. And you think about, why are we doing business with the Chinese? Right? We're talking about, hey, we want them to stop stealing our stuff, stop spying on our stuff. Again, this is being reported by Bloomberg that the Chinese military designed and manufactured microchips as small as a sharpened pencil tip, and they were built to look like conditioning couplers that were inside of the servers. In other words, to the naked eye, you think, oh, that looks right. They incorporated memory, network capability, and sufficient processing power for an attack. The microchips were inserted at Chinese factories that supplied Supermicro. Remember, that was the company that Amazon said was supplying the servers to that company, Elemental. By the way, Supermicro, one of the biggest seller of server motherboards in the world. The comprised motherboards were built into servers assembled in their plants in China, made their way to data centers operated by dozens of companies. Now, right now, we know Amazon. They have also mentioned Apple. I don't know that I've seen them name the other companies, but they did say part of the CIA, the Department of Defense, drones are all being mentioned in this as well. Incredible. And you know what? All of these companies still do business there, don't they? Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. Now, again, this is Bloomberg reporting that these events occurred, that Amazon was doing due diligence, found the malicious chip, told the government about it, but just so you know, Amazon bought them anyway. I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, they did the deal in 2015. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I do believe that they have since sold it. Because I think what they found out was whatever they found in 2015, it was even worse. In a statement, Amazon says that it is not true that they knew about a supply chain compromise, an issue with malicious chips or hardware modifications when acquiring Elemental. Apparently, they do not dispute that they did become aware of it. They're just saying, hey, we became aware of it after we bought it. Maybe, maybe not. Apple says that they don't know anything, right? The company, we know nothing. On this, we can be very clear. Apple has never found malicious chips, hardware manipulations, or other vulnerabilities purposely planted in any server. So maybe they're like, oh, it was an accident. Yeah, we found them, but it was an accident. I don't know, but I'm just reading you what Apple has said. The Chinese government had no comment other than issuing a statement that supply chain safety and cyberspace is an issue of common concern, and China is also a victim. Kind of saying, hey, we're just doing what everybody else is doing to us. But again, I don't know when and how. We know that Amazon bought this company. Again, when you see their names, you'd have no idea. Oh, yeah, that must, they must have a plant down in Chandler. No, that's not where it is. And Bloomberg also says that the CIA had said as early as 2014 that China was preparing to do something at this level. What they did find was that the chips had been inserted, again, this is Bloomberg. The chips had been inserted during the manufacturing process by operatives from a unit of the People's Liberation Army, and Supermicro's China's spies appear to have found the perfect conduit for what U.S. officials now describe as the most significant supply chain attack known to have been carried out against America and American companies in history. I will send links to this to Ramon. We'll have both of these stories up on our website tomorrow. We may have one of them already up. I'm not sure. If not, I'll have both links. I'm reporting from two different sources, both of them on the Bloomberg findings about Amazon allegedly buying a Chinese company that they knowingly, again, this is alleged, that they knowingly knew had spyware. I mean, I guess for lack of a better term, in the servers itself. I do believe, in fairness, and I don't know fair or not fair, I do believe that they have since sold it. That is my understanding, but don't quote me on that. And if more information comes out, I will bring it to your attention. But again, when you kind of look at this, and I guess my thinking is, well, if we've known about it for this long, why are we just finding out about it now? And I think the answer is kind of a simple one, which is we're finding out about it now because we want China to relent on the trade wars. And I'm looking on it. It's not on. We'll have both of these up there tomorrow for you at All American Gold, because there's a lot there. I'm not going to be able to cover it all, but you can do your own research into it. When we get back in the final segment, one of the largest bankruptcies to date is coming in the retail business. I'm going to tell you who it is. Could be as early as this weekend, and there's a lot more to follow. Today we've got about 30 U.S. $20 gold pieces. They're going to be $1,300. And then we've got less than 20 rolls of backdated silver eagles at $360 a piece at 800-951-0592. And again, we've seen this play out before, right? We have massive. What are the CEOs and CFOs and all of these big stock guys doing? They're all selling. Insider selling, all-time record high in September. yet soft data is all-time record highs. And then you hear reports about, how can housing sales fall 30% in Denver, Dallas, Fort Worth, New York? And we're talking about the greatest economy of all time. And, of course, we got the Fed raising rates, and we know every single time they've led us to a recession. Start adding. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. Final segment on this Thursday, 800-951-0592. Still got 3 lines open. Start adding. Start adding. All of the unintended consequences are starting to rear their ugly heads when talking about what is happening, not just in housing and auto sales. Now you're looking at trade wars, and today, according to Bloomberg, we find out that the Chinese through by the way, just so you know, this super micro company, this is how it was described in the article. Think of Microsoft, okay? They are the Microsoft of motherboards. So view this as the largest attack on Windows ever. Now, it's not Windows, right? It's not Microsoft, but these motherboards, that's how big this company is. It's a company, let's face it, I wouldn't know it from anything. I'd think, what, are you talking about Super Mario Brothers, right? That's what I would be thinking about. So just keep that in mind, and why it is that we've ignored this forever. And remember what I said, this isn't going away. Matter of fact, I'm proud to announce that J.P. Morgan obviously listens to my show, and yesterday finally admitted, hey, our new baseline scenario is a trade war with China lasting for a very, very long time, which is just going to mean, hey, things are going to get a lot more expensive. 800-951-0592. U.S. $20 gold pieces, $1,300. We now have about 15 rolls of backdate Silver Eagles at $360. As soon as it could be today, could be tomorrow. My guess is they'll do it, over the weekend. Report it right at the courthouse steps at close tomorrow. The largest mattress firm in the country is going to be filing bankruptcy. Matter of fact, it is one of our articles. It is one of our lead articles at allamericangold.com. Mattress firm, over 3,000 storefronts, is going to be filing for bankruptcy protection. Sales were down over, I saw 13% from last year to this year, and of course last year they were down 10%. I mean, they've lost over 25% of their business. What we don't know is how many of the 3,000 stores are going to shut. I've heard numbers from as little as 500 to as many as over 2,000, but we'll have to wait and see on the filing, which is now going to be, I guess, any day now. And I just think they'll wait for the weekend because that seems to be the pattern anyway of what is happening. So we've got another bankruptcy in mattress firm, over 3,000 locations. And again, these rate moves are going to cost a lot more stores out there. Patriot Radio News Hour. Come back if you can take it tomorrow. Take care. Have a great day.